injunction in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata gurau tasyaite katita hi artha prakashante mahatmanaha. How can one understand the secrets of the Vedas? Especially Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Rahasyam hi etad uttamam. That my Bhagavad Gita is mysterious. It's confidential. So this shloka from Upanishads tells us what is required so that one may understand the Vedic scriptures. Because it's not simply academic. It's not simply scholasticism. No. One can read and read and read, but for the understanding, that is different. That's a gift. So, two things are required in order to be able to understand the Vedic literatures, especially the transcendental literatures, beginning with Bhagavad Gita and then graduating to Srimad Bhagavatam. One must have implicit faith in two things. Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead, and the spiritual master who reveals the knowledge to the disciple. One has to have an equal amount of faith in God and Guru. They don't mix the two. Guru is Guru, God is God. But we sing every morning, Sakshadaritve nasamasta shastraya Ruktastata bhav yata eva saddi Kintu praboya priya eva tasya Vande Gurosri Charanarvindam. The disciple 3 times a day has to offer respects to the Guru, the spiritual master. And this shloka explains Sakshadharitvena. Although the spiritual master is not God and never claims to be God, still the scriptures tell us the spiritual master should be worshipped as if he was God. This is a very subtle point. The spiritual master is not God, he is Supreme Personality, Servitor God. Servitor. And we all know from Bhagavad Gita, at the end, Krishna tells that anyone who studies Gita, they're worshipping Krishna by their intelligence. And Krishna also says, anyone who teaches the message of Gita, there's no one more dear to Krishna, Krishna says. Krishna says, there's no one more dear to me than one who is teaching and preaching my Bhagavad Gita. That's what Krishna says. So therefore, the spiritual master is revealing the message of the Gita to the disciple, and the disciple's duty is to serve the spiritual master as good as God. Always remembering, the Guru remembers and the disciple remembers. The Guru is not God, but he is the transparent via medium to God. So these two things, implicit faith, then one can understand the Vedic scriptures. All right, so now you know who I am. my spiritual master gave me an instruction back in 1975 in a public lecture in Atlanta, Georgia. I asked my spiritual master, what pleases you the most? Because we also understand, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada, Yasya prasada nagati kutopi. The disciple has no way of knowing that Krishna is pleased other than always obeying the instructions of the spiritual master. The disciple is not concerned whether or not I'm pleasing Krishna. No, the disciple knows my guru is representative of Krishna. If I satisfy him, Krishna is automatically satisfied. That's how a real disciple thinks. Just like later on at the end of this month, we will celebrate Nrsingadev's appearance day, Nrsinga Chaturdashi. So in that Nrsinga Katha, there is so much information how to become a great devotee. Because we say, Bhaktaraj Palad. There's even one chapter in the Bhagavatam, Prahlad, the best amongst exalted devotees. So we'll hear much about Prahlad, about Lord Nrsinga, and about, of course, Hiranyakashipu. He's also part of the Leela. So there is one statement that Prahlad made after Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu. All the demigods came because even after killing Hiranyakashipu, as well as Hiranyakashipu's massive army, Nrsingadev killed them also, just with his nails. Just with his nails. I think our government might need that particular weapon after they're bragging that it's some kind of God's war. Well, pray to Nrsinga. See if he comes. So, all the demigods, they wanted to pacify Nrsinga, but even after killing all the demons, Nrsingadev was still unhappy. He was roaring. He was angry, sitting on the throne of Indra. So all the demigods, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, they all came offering prayers, but Nrsingadev was still roaring. And even Lakshmi, Lord Brahma was requesting Lakshmi, he's your husband, do something. And she went, no, I've never seen him like this. I'm not going in front of him like this. So as a last resort, Lord Brahma nudged Prahlad, do something. And Prahlad bowed down, dandavat, like a stick. And the Lord touched Prahlad's head, and the Lord stopped roaring. Shanti. Shanti. You'll see there's Ugra Nrsinga, and then there's Shanta Nrsinga. For a devotee, either one is okay. But for most people, they don't want to see that Ugra Nrsinga. They want the Shanta Nrsinga. So, after Prahlad was touched by Nrsingadev, the 5-year-old boy stood up and offered a stream of exalted prayers, beautiful, deep philosophy from so many angles of vision. But one thing will always stick with me. What Prahlad said to Nisringa, that you may want to offer me some benediction. Don't tempt me with that. My first duty is to serve my spiritual master. In this case, it was Narada Muni. Just see the mentality. Prahlad could have asked for any benediction. He said, no, please keep me in touch with my guru. That's my first business. Prahlad's teachings are most profound. You can learn so much spiritual knowledge studying those 10 chapters in the 7th canto dealing with Nisringa. There are 10 chapters. So much information is there. Material, practical information, transcendental information, so much is available. So, those of you who attended last Sunday's lecture, I spoke on the first verse of the Bhaja Hunre Mana song. So I'd like to continue with verse 2, since I got a few rave reviews. So I want to continue with the hot streak. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let us invoke auspiciousness. Everyone please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I must confess, I'm in a really good mood today. So make sure you get blessings at some point, because everyone will get special blessings today. My stock is rising, so take advantage. Okay, so I was waiting for that. Very good. Jai Jai. So let's go to the second verse. Shita atapa bhata barishana edina jamini jagire. Shita atapa bhata barishana edina jamini jagire. Bifale sevinu kripana durajana chapala sukalama lagire. Bifale sevinu kripana durajana chapala sukalama lagire. These Vaishnava songs are so good to preach from. In the Vedas, there is this understanding of the word sutra. The way Prabhupada explains, maximum knowledge, minimum words. That's a sutra. Sutra is also thread. So these Vaishnava bhajans, they're also like sutras. Few words, but very deep meanings can be elucidated. Just add power, yes. Krishna power. That's what you need. So, the meaning of this second verse O night and day, I remain sleepless through the cold, the heat, the wind, and the rain. So here, Govinda Das, the author, is reminding us of the harsh dualities of material existence. We may remember what Krishna says himself about the material world he created. He himself says, you know what? The material world I created, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. You might notice in advertisements they'll say disclaimer, or sometimes in legal contracts they've got to put disclaimer so that they don't get sued. So you could say this is Krishna's disclaimer. Oh, by the way, this material world is a temporary place for suffering. Where's my bell? Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And in chapter 15, he reminds us, what does he say? You're struggling with your senses. Manakshashtan indriyani prakriti-stani karshati. Grappling, struggling. We struggle with the modes of nature. At any moment, right? Wildfires, there could be earthquake, bombs. Right now, anything's possible. Lightning bolts. That's why in the Bhagavatam it says, Padam padam yad vipadam. Danger at every step. Don't get scared. You have your father. Don't worry. Just stay close. I know I'm painting a scary picture, but you'll be taken care of. Okay? All right, good. So, this material existence, here the author is pointing out that we have to tolerate so many inconveniences in this material human existence. We may think, oh, I'd like to go to heaven. But Bhagavatam describes even their happiness is interrupted by who? The demons. So there's no uninterrupted happiness anywhere in the material world. That's why Krishna said, Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Go up and down, doesn't matter. Of course, there's varying degrees. Here on earth, it's not too bad, it's also not too good. Like we say, how do you feel? Blah. That's human existence, blah. Things are going good, right? For a few hours you wake up, ooh, I feel good. And then after a while, you don't feel good anymore. Modes of nature, so powerful. That's why Krishna also says in chapter 7 that that this material energy of mine, for me, is divine, but for you, not so divine. Right? And it's insurmountable, the stringent laws of material nature. It's insurmountable. This material world is sometimes called Durga, fortress. Another way of saying prison. We're actually prisoners here. A-class prisoners, even the demigods, can be considered as prisoners of the material confines. We're speaking now in terms of relativities. So, we have to tolerate. Now, the next line, the author of the song is saying, so why did I go through all of this? Duality, heat and cold, honor, dishonor. Why? Bifale sevenu. I was searching after Shapalasuka. Shapalasuka, flickering happiness. That's all you get in the material world. I've given the example before. In the Gita, 3 kinds of happiness are described. 3 kinds. Happiness in the mode of goodness. Like right now, this is happiness in the mode of goodness. Happiness in the mode of passion, party, having fun. And then happiness in the mode of darkness or ignorance, intoxication, gross sinful activities. But either one doesn't matter. Your happiness in goodness, passion, or ignorance, it's limited and temporary. That's it. So you get 3 flavors: vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. You get happiness in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. I'll let you decide which flavor corresponds to which mode. I have my way of seeing things. But the happiness that we're struggling to achieve is flickering. It doesn't stay. And then, in order to get that material happiness, I have to serve Kripana. Kripana is the opposite of Brahmana. A Brahmana is described in the Gita having 9 symptoms: control of the mind, control of the senses. He's peaceful. He studies the Vedas, truthful, practices the Vedic knowledge, has firm faith in God and the Vedas. But a Kripana means miserly person. Brahmana is supposed to be liberal, broad-minded, very broad-minded. Kripana is narrow-minded. What are some examples of Kripana? Duryodhan, Dushashan, all those Kaurava rascals. Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira, they were magnanimous souls. Magnanimous. So a Kripana is a miser, only cares about their own well-being, doesn't worry about anyone else. So these are the kind of people sometimes we have to serve in the material world. So in the Bhagavatam, there is a very nice verse which paints a nice meditation. This, of course, is from Narada teaching Krishna's father, Vasudeva. One time, Vasudeva wanted to learn more details of spiritual knowledge. So the best person to ask would be someone like Narada. And Narada instructed him nicely. But there's one verse here, very nice meditation. Nrit deham adyang sulabang sudurlabang plavang sukopang guru karanadaram mayana lukena nabasvateritam puman bababding nataritsa atmaha. That word, atmaha, very, very special. So, Prabhupada explains as follows. When one wants to cross a large ocean, one requires a strong boat. And so it is said that the human form of life is a good boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. Even in this song, Bhaja Hunre Mana, in the first verse, the same thing was mentioned. Same thing Krishna says in Gita, Mayam etang taranti te. Here in this song, right, what's the last line? Taraha e bhava sindure. So all three mean the same thing. So the human form of life is a good boat to cross the ocean of nescience. In the human form of life, one can obtain the guidance of a good navigator, and that is spiritual master. So the boat is the human form of life, but you need a navigator. I sing every lecture, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. So if I'm ignorant, I need a navigator. I need a spiritual master. And one also gets a favorable wind by the mercy of Krishna. And that wind is the instructions of Krishna. So reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam Krishna Katha is for your benefit. It's not for Krishna's benefit. It is for our benefit when we read and hear this transcendental knowledge. The human body is the boat, the instructions of Lord Krishna are the favorable winds, and the spiritual master is the navigator. The spiritual master knows well how to adjust the sails to catch the winds favorably and steer the boat to its destination. Yes, the destination, Godhead, the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. That is our destination. No, we don't know. I know somebody, when I tried to bless him, that you go back to God, he goes, no, bless me that I go to the heavenly planets. I said, what? I've known this guy for 30 years. Anyway, I blessed him. What am I going to do? But I'm sure all of you want the blessing of going back to Krishna. Who wants to go back and be with Krishna? Not everybody. Okay. Well, Narada is telling us how to do it. The spiritual master knows well how to adjust the sails to catch the winds favorably and steer the boat to its destination. If, however, one does not take advantage of this opportunity, one wastes the human form of life. Wasting time in life in this way is the same as committing suicide. So that's why that word, Atmaha. Atmaha also appears in the Ishopanishad. It is usually described as the killer of the soul. But anyone who has a little knowledge will immediately say, wait a second. I've heard you say in the Gita, the soul can never die. So why you have this term, killer of the soul? The soul can never be killed. So, there is another way to kill the soul. Yes, you cannot kill the soul as it is. But in the human form of life, understanding its heavy responsibilities, and that the real goal of human life, Nate vidu swartikating hi Vishnu, Prahlad said to his teachers and to his father that people don't know the goal of life is the lotus feet of Vishnu, Krishna. That's the goal of life. But people are not aware of it. So if I have this human form of life, which is a gift rarely gotten, in the first verse, Manava Janma Durlabham. Durlabha Manava Janma. In the first verse of the song, Durlabha Manava Janma. Human form of life is rarely gotten. So if in the human form of life I neglect the needs of the soul, then that's considered killing the soul, because I wasted the opportunity. I have this opportunity as a human being to finish up samsara, no more repeated birth and death, and I don't do it, I don't take advantage, then that's called ignorance. Therefore, the duty of the preacher, the duty of a devotee, is to remind everyone that you have this opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. But if you neglect, then you're killing yourself, committing suicide. You're wasting this valuable life. Therefore, every moment the devotee is thinking, I don't want to waste any time. I wasted so much of my life in pursuing sense gratification. Now, with the remainder of my life, let me be really fixed on achieving the real goal of life, going back home, back to Godhead. So many times in Prabhupada's books, he emphasizes this point of keeping the goal in mind is to go back home, back to Godhead. There is a verse by Shukadeva Goswami when he begins his instructions to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj's question finally was, now that I'm about to die, what is my duty? What must I do now that I'm about to die? 7 days. So Shukadeva was pointing out that there are two kinds of householders. So we are all householders. So there are two kinds, Grihamedi, Grihastha. Grihastha is one who has the goal of life going back home, back to Godhead, and as a result lives a life according to the teachings of the Shastra, and living that kind of life, especially by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But the Grihamedi is different. The Grihamedi neglects spiritual life and simply lives the life of a polished animal. Sophisticated eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but the result is all material. And such a person, a Grihamedi, Prahlad called his father that. He said, you have taken a vow to remain in this material world. Devotees take a vow to get out of this material world, go back home, back to Godhead. Yes. So Shukadeva was saying that these Grihamedis, they have what is called fallible soldiers. These fallible soldiers are things that the Grihamedi takes shelter of, thinking it will save him at the time of death, but they fall. They're fallible. So what are these things? Right? So one thinks, my children, they will save me. Or my balance, my bank balance. I have all this Bitcoin, I have this, that will save me. I have my great nation. my great society. But Shukadev says, no, these are fallible soldiers. They will not save you at the crucial moment, the time of death. The only thing that will save you is your faith in God, in the Vedas. And are you able to think of Krishna at the time of death? Therefore, we must practice remembering. Not that, oh, I'll just remember Ajamil at the time of death, and when the Yamadutas come, I'll say, Narayan. I hope you can. That's the trick. Yes, will you? No, that's why we have what is called sadhana. We practice remembering Krishna. Just like coming here. My wife's not here, so I'm going to tell you. So on the freeway, I almost got into an accident. I was changing lanes, and I didn't see this guy, but Krishna saved me at the last moment. Hare Krishna. Krishna saved me, as he has saved me many times. Yes. So devotee practices. What is that line? Suke duke bulo nako. That whether I'm happy or distressed, let me remember the name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was just remembering another incident in the Prahlad Katha, that after Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, and after Prahlad offered more than 44 exquisite prayers to Lord Nrsinga, Lord Nrsinga said to Prahlad that I want you to take a benediction, because on my behalf, simply because you were my devotee, simply because you believed in me, you had to suffer so much. So I want to give you a benediction. And Prahlad said, my Lord, I'm not a vanik, I'm not a merchant, I don't worship you to get something in return. Our relationship is, you are the master, I am the servant. That's our relationship. And I am completely happy. But Nrsingadev insisted, no, Prahlad, I insist you take a benediction. So Prahlad said, all right, if I must take a benediction, then make sure that in my heart there are no more material desires. That is the most wonderful blessing. Here's a 5-year-old boy, could have asked for anything, and he said, no. Let there be no more material desires in my heart. And Lord Chaitanya, in his prayers, follows that same concept. Na danang, na janang, na sundaring, kapichang va jagadisha, kamaye, mama janmani shware, bhavatad bhaktir, ohituki twayi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Finishing up, while we were just chanting, I was reminded that what we are doing, this Sankirtan Yajna, this Sankirtan sacrifice that we do every second Saturday, this is the prescribed religious process for this age of Kali. Sankirtan, complete glorification, complete chanting, complete absorption in the holy name, fame, pastimes, instructions of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality Godhead. And what is the benefit for those who partake in this Sankirtan Yajna? Your heart becomes cleansed of all anxiety. So hopefully the message has penetrated your hearts and you are feeling some relief. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now we will have the japa class.
Hare Krishna. प्रभु का स्वागत कीजिए, ताली बजाकर।
Hare Krishna.
अब हम आरती सेवा की तरफ बढ़ते हैं और 7 बजे आरती होगी। तब तक पहले